Otto the Otter and the Bubble Bridge. Otto the Otter lived in a cozy burrow on the banks of the Whispering River, a waterway so vast and swift that no otter had ever dared to cross it. From his side, the world was familiar and safe. Sun-dappled reeds, plump river snails, and the friendly chatter of his kin. But on the far bank, mysterious taller trees swayed, and the air hummed with different scents, a world Otto yearned to explore. Otto wasn't like the other otters. While they practiced their sleek dives and perfected their stone skipping, Otto spent his days in quiet contemplation, often chuckling to himself over some secret joy. These weren't loud, boisterous laughs, but soft, bubbly giggles that tickled his throat and made his whiskers twitch. And sometimes, when he giggled with particular delight, a small, iridescent bubble would drift from his nose, floating lazily before popping. One particularly sunny afternoon, Otto was observing a fat dragonfly with an expression of pure, unadulterated amusement. A stream of tiny giggles escaped him, and to his astonishment, not one, but a string of bubbles emerged, larger than usual. They shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow, and instead of popping immediately, they bounced gently against each other, forming a small wobbly chain on the water's surface. Otto, ever curious, nudged one with his paw. It was surprisingly firm. He giggled again, a little louder this time, and more bubbles joined the chain, extending further. A daring thought sparked in Otto's mind. Could he? He took a deep breath, focused on the purest joy he could remember. The taste of a perfectly ripe berry, the warmth of the sun on his fur, and let out a cascade of delighted chuckles. More bubbles, bigger and stronger, surged forth, linking together, forming a shimmering, pontoon-like structure. Slowly, cautiously, Otto placed one paw, then another, onto the bubble chain. It held. He giggled with sheer exhilaration, and with each giggle, the bridge grew, extending further across the daunting Whispering River. It was unstable, swaying gently, but it was there. A bridge made of pure, joyful laughter. News of Otto's incredible discovery spread like wildfire through the Otter village. At first they were skeptical. A bridge of bubbles? Impossible! Chuffed Barnaby, the oldest and most serious otter. But when they saw it, stretching a third of the way across the river, shimmering under the sun, their doubts turned to wide-eyed wonder. Then, disaster struck. A rare and aggressive river blight began to wither the reeds on Otto's side of the bank, the primary food source for their village. Panic rippled through the community. They needed the resilient, blight-resistant reeds that grew only on the far side of the Whispering River. But how to get there? The current was too strong, the distance too great. All eyes turned to Otto. He was their only hope. Otto, his mother pleaded, can you build your bubble bridge all the way across? Otto looked at the wide, swirling expanse of the river, then at the anxious faces of his family and friends. It was a monumental task, far more bubbles than he had ever produced. He felt a knot of fear in his stomach. What if his joy ran out? What if he couldn't laugh enough? He closed his eyes, remembering the feel of the sun, the taste of the berry, the simple, innocent joy of the dragonfly. He began to giggle, softly at first, then with more conviction, a bubbling fountain of pure happiness. Bubbles, larger and more numerous than ever before, streamed from him, forming a solid, glistening path. As he laughed, he started to walk, one careful paw in front of the other. The bridge undulated, the current tugging at its shimmering surface, but Otto kept giggling, kept walking. The otters on his bank cheered him on, their voices carrying across the water. He was halfway, then 3/4 of the way. His sides ached, his throat was hoarse, but the thought of his hungry family spurred him on. Finally, with one last triumphant burst of laughter, Otto stepped onto the soft, unknown earth of the far bank. The bubble bridge, still tethered to him by his continuous mirth, connected the two worlds.